The inadequate funding of state entities like police, the Director of Public Prosecutions and the judiciary has compromised the state's will to help the region fully recover from the wounds of the Lord's resistance army. Sexual abuse is on the rise in the region, with perpetrators taking advantage of the weak presence of the state instruments. The women tend to be victims of unjust culture codes that often treat men as superiors over women. Since the rapists and defilers are men, and men are the chairpersons and decision makers in the culture codes, they end up with lighter sentences and in most cases told to marry their victims after paying dowry. In some cases where police intervenes, the perpetrators bribe their way out cheaply. And this is easy because even the police are not well facilitated to execute its obligations.
We have been really crying to ActionAid, who is supporting us. In fact, they are supporting us a lot. Making follow-ups, we run to them. Visiting scenes, we run to them. Because these are emergency cases, that their scenes need to be visited immediately there and then so that you get enough evidence. Like for instance, younger children who does not talk. So you have to move immediately so that you gather those silent evidence. That is the one that talks for them in court.
Stella Odongo is the officer in charge of the sexual gender-based violence desk at Gulu Central Police Station. She says that in many cases, police can't attend to a number of cases even when they are informed in time, since they lack transport to facilitate their movements. The police there lack other logistics such as gloves, exhibit storage kits and forensic expertise on rape and defilement.
Me, myself, have been facing together with the CFPU personnel. Okay, in such a cases, if they bring them, we take them at our homes and then this Lapewa, they keep them, and then Justice for Children, they are the ones to pay, maybe to cater for them when they're in the hands of those Lapewa. Not until we are to call those relatives or those parents, we put them down for counseling. When they counsel them, and then we see if there is a responsible relative who can take care of this survivor, and we hand them over to, meanwhile we make follow-ups.
Nixon Ogwal, the Director Funding and Sponsorship at ActionAid, says that unless Uganda Police and other relevant departments of government put in place structures and funding to assist in extending legal and social support to rural women and girls, the situation can only get worse.
Is to ensure that the roles and responsibilities of these different stakeholders are actually being played, but is also looking at that these cases are also providing evidence for deepening of this work at policy level, seeing for instance that we get the rightful way of rolling up the Domestic Violence Act in itself.
Ogwal does not differ from Stella Odongo and criticizes police leadership for making money readily available to fund public order activities and operations like riots and protests, yet almost none is available when social terrorists like rapists and defilers are identified.
It's a contradiction to the citizens that are listening or watching to know that when money is needed for certain things, it easily gets to police very quickly. And you know some of it. Yeah, I know crowd management is very important to ensure public safety. That is probably where you will find that money can come from anywhere when it is about issues of crowd management. But when it is about like following up on cases where there's need to collect evidence, people have beaten up themselves, one is about to die very far, you people who have come up to report this to police, you have to find a way of facilitating police. So the message really would come, which we have said during the launch, that there is need to take stock of how government has made resources available for all these institutions.
Okelo Vicky is another girl child and a victim to sexual gender-based violence after she was defiled by a one Peter Oroch, aged 26. Akelo is an imbecile and currently lives with her grandfather, Alex Olinga. The state of her mind compels her to recycle the fateful day like it has just happened, making you think that she is defiled every day, even just before the interview. Police is now calling for better funding to counter these social vices.
The offices itself, it is not all that well facilitated, and the issue of shelter, because we face a lot of difficulties. If the survivors are brought, sometimes at that particular moment you find the complainant does not want to see the survivor within the area.
Jordan Mubangizi, NBS Television, Sunset.